it on. How many of you were here yesterday? You were here yesterday. Can you please tell me what was remarkable in your learning in any of the sessions you had? I'm still doing this to wait for them to know. I hope you understand. You want to share something that you did not know before, or maybe you knew, but through the learning of the training, you had better exposure to it. Who wants to share? Well, teachers now, aren't we? Who wants to share anything? Should I call someone? Okay, please, ma'am. Thank you very much. Briefly introduce yourself, and then let me hear from you. Thank you.
Very much, ma'am. Yes, yesterday I was in all three, and I came very late, but I was able to meet the second class. So I learned about this 5 buckets by Stephen Burlett, and we're made to understand these 5 buckets represent us. So the first bucket is knowledge, and it talks about what you know. The second bucket talks about skills, what you can apply, the applied knowledge you can give out. Then the third bucket talks about network, who you know, which is very important. Why most of us are outside now networking to meet people, relate with other schools, and grab more connectivity. Then the third one is resources, what you have. What do you have? What do you have naturally that God has given to you, and what knowledge have you acquired that can make you a resourceful person outside there? Then the fifth bucket talks about your reputation. What can people say about you? Do you have good reports? Can people say something nice and good about you and recommend you for better expansion? Thank you very much.
Please, can we put our hands together for her? I wasn't here yesterday, not because I didn't want to be here. At the same time TOSSE is going on, there's another conference, schools conference. This one is for principals, heads of schools. It's called ASEN, and it's the same day, same 2 days. So I couldn't juggle yesterday to be here. But I've heard about this bucket list from someone here who also wants to share something significant that you learned. Maybe yesterday, today, just briefly. You know why I'm asking you that? By the grace and mercies of God, I've been in the teaching profession for almost 30 years. Some number of years being a teacher in the classroom before becoming a head of school. The essence of you attending trainings like this is not just to keep it to you. The more you talk about it, the more you use your trainings, the more you can hone it. It becomes part and parcel of you. So please take note of that. So for my session, please, there will be some things you already know, some things that might come to you newly, and some things that maybe you've heard of somewhere, but you did not really understand. So please pay attention, so that you are not just sitting marking register. You are also being able to go back and give back to your school, give back to the teachers that are not here, and most importantly, use it to affect the lives of the students around you. So once again, I welcome you to this session of the day. I don't know why they put me late in the afternoon, but all is well. So I hope you're not going to fall asleep while I'm talking. So that's why I'm going to engage you. So turn to someone and say, engage. Engage. Turn to someone and another person say, engage. Engage. I'm a teacher. I don't use titles. I am a teacher. I love being a teacher. I am proud to be a teacher. So, as you engage your children in the classroom, right now you are my students. So I will engage you. Next slide, please. Can you write the word teacher on your notepad? Teacher. T-E-A-C-H-E-R. From that word, form other words from it. I'm going to stop you very soon. From that word, form shorter words. Don't introduce any new letter. Just from this word, teacher. Form, and let me see how many you can form. I can tell you I formed 20. Start writing. And then we'll see how we go with it. Going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's stop, please, so that we can go on. Thank you. Who wants to share with us? How many of you got 4 to 6 words? How many? Thank you. 7 to 10 words? Well, 11 to 15. Wow, I'm going to ask you 11 to 15. Anybody with 16? You did? Let me hear you. Stand. Read out. Where's the second mic, please? Second mic. Second mic. Thank you. Thank you. Quickly.
Eat.
Eat. That's just a little icebreaker. I'm also trying to do this. Why do we do icebreakers? To connect with your audience. As a teacher, it's very wrong of you to go into the classroom and just write today's date. Mathematics, multiplication, and say, bring out your exercise books. You're totally losing your students that way. There's no connection. So, this is a little exercise that you can do in different ways, depending on the age group you're teaching, how you want to connect. Connectivity is very important to learning. If you don't connect with your audience, then you're already losing your audience at the beginning of the teaching experience. What are we here to learn today? 1. To explain why a school is a positive and supportive learning environment. 2. We want to describe the roles of teachers in creating positive and supportive learning environments in our schools. We want to identify the factors that can create the positive learning and supporting learning environments in our school. And then we want to enumerate, to list ways how we can come about creating this environment. Right? It will be nice for you to listen and take pictures. What you hear, you will understand better. Right? It's beyond taking pictures. What do you think is a learning environment? What do you think is a learning environment? There's no dictionary definition. I'm just asking. Any volunteers? What do you think is a learning environment? Teachers. Thank you, ma'am. The mic is coming. Thank you.
A learning environment of a child is anywhere a child finds his or herself.
Okay, good. Thank you. Who wants to add to that? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I was pointing to her, but thank you.
A learning environment is an environment that is conducive for teaching and learning to take place.
Thank you, ma'am. The environment is where learning takes place, whether formally or informally. Thank you very much. You all said well. There's something very important in a learning environment. There are strategies, there are processes that has been put in place for someone to acquire knowledge. The knowledge can be, the type of environment can be formal. You know what I mean by formal? In a proper, structured environment. Or it could be informal, like going to the mechanic to go and learn apprenticeship, going to the tailor to go and learn one thing or the other. So the main thing to know in a learning environment is what? There's acquisition of knowledge. There's something I did not know before that I'm coming to learn in this place. Some people will say a learning environment is where their strategies and processes and experiences have been put in place for there to be a change, a positive change in behavior. So that means there can be a negative change in someone's behavior through learning. Do you all agree to that? God forbid. Some people learn to be criminals. Some people learn to be fraudsters. They are all learning. They were not born that way. Do you understand? So, but the proper definition for the context we are using in this afternoon says that there must be a positive change in behavior towards what? The learning that the child, the experiences, the processes that you are introducing to your students. Next. The school as a learning environment. A school is a place a child is coming to learn. Basically, three aspects of learning. The learning that will change, the cognitive development of the child that will improve it, the part that will change, the what, the emotional, or somebody will call it what, the social development of the child. Another one would be what, the physical, the psychological development of the child. That is what you should find in a school. It is wrong for us as a school to think that our children, our students are coming just to acquire academic knowledge. Everybody can stay at home and learn, even from textbooks, from the internet. If we are talking about how do we want to raise the totality of a child, how can your school, how can you as a teacher, as an educator, if I'm the math teacher or the science teacher, my job is not just to go and stand in the classroom, to go and read out how to do statistics, or to add, subtract, or to just talk about reproduction, or talk about the environment of the child. I'm talking about how can I teach this child that even when I'm teaching my talking, I'm able to allow that child to see how it relates to everyday life of the child. We miss it as educators, as teachers, if we think they only employed me to be an English teacher, they only employed me to be a BK teacher. All I have to do is write my lesson plan and then stand in front of the children to teach. You are to look at how that subject you are teaching can affect how many aspects did I say? The three aspects of learning of the child. A learning environment is also where skills are developed and harnessed. Education, with today's education, has gone beyond the ones our parents had. I can tell you, on your street in your school, or your area of your school, how many schools do you have? There are numerous schools, even in Lagos State, not to talk about Nigeria. That means everybody is teaching them how to read, write, spell, and basically, the same children that come to your class, the same age mates, are going to face students that are all the way in Japan. That's the world they're living in. They're going to face students that are what? In UK, America, in Canada. So education has gone beyond acquisition of knowledge. Certificates is beyond that. What other thing can you do? There's a popular thing I say when I talk to parents and teachers or even whatever. Your education can simply open the door for you. Your certificates is the skills that you have that will help you to retain the job. It's the skills you have. Are you teaching your children how to problem solve? Are you teaching them critical thinking? Are you teaching them communication skills? Are you teaching them leadership skills? Even your subject in biology. Are you teaching them collaborative skills? Education has gone beyond numeracy, literacy, math, English, science. The 21st century schools are equally very important. That is what will help them to retain the job. Why do you think that today's, I don't even know what they call them, is it Gen Z or millennial or which one? Alpha. There's Alpha again. Hey, Father Lord, help me somebody. Can you imagine? One little stress, they say, oh, I have mental, what did they call them again? Mental stress. Oh, I can't cope. It's what you teach the child we know. It's what you experiences, you expose the students to that they can know. But if you don't provide that and teach them the same way we teach them how to read and write, then they cannot get to the outside world. And one little shaking, and then they do what? They crumble. May we not build on sand. I teacher to challenge those children more. It's your duty as a teacher to provide experiences that will do what? That will make them to feel challenged to learn more. They're not to stay on one spot. They're supposed to grow. If you put a seed in the ground, what happens? It grows gradually. And so that is your duty as a teacher to provide experiences that will make this child that doing well. Every one of us loves to play well like this. They are A students. So we always feel good with ourselves when we teach them and they're getting all the marks. But we don't want them to remain static. We want them to continue to grow. The learning environment is a place where you do what? You provide experiences for students who have learning deficiencies. They are either weak in reading, they are either weak in spelling, they are either weak in even addition of basic math, they are weak in physics, they are weak in chemistry. Your duty as a teacher is not to allow that child to remain that way. Remember, learning happens when there is a what? Positive change in behavior towards the learning. So that tells me that as a teacher, if my child is not learning, what has happened? There's no positive change in behavior. That means I've not provided enough. I'm not saying you have not done anything. I've not provided enough strategies, experiences that will allow this child to gain more on the concepts I've taught that child. So I need to do what? I need to look for something more to do. Next please. Please can we read that as many as can see that? I saw this article as I was preparing for this workshop. And basically, I looked at it. 9 million of our youths, of our students are failing JAMB. And so, what's the article? Who is the article addressing? Who is addressing? Teachers. Concerns over our teaching methods. Concern over what we do in our classroom, that even the academic knowledge that we're trying to pass to these students, they're not able to achieve it. My people will say, Ogata, Ogaoka, Oalaru. Is that our attitude? Whether they like it or not, I've done my own, I don't know anything again. At least make my salary come. And we are talking about a society we want to change. If they cannot pass ordinary JAMB, how will they pass in university? This is just about academics. Take another look and picture in your mind the decadence in the society. Is this how Nigeria was 15, 20 years ago? Even the youths are telling you education is a scam. They don't believe in it again. One small thing, they are Yahoo plus. One small thing, they are looking for quick money. We've not been able to form their minds to what? To persevere. If nothing is working, does that mean that we shouldn't pull through? You might feel like even failure, I learned, is an experience. It's not something you should be scared away. It's an experience. So as much as possible, what we're trying to say now is, even the so-called teaching we're teaching, what's the product? Are they just simply passing our school and class exams? Are they able to achieve more even when they face external exams in our schools? So, I have some questions on the board before we go on. And we're going to do something briefly. You're going to pick any question there, and you're going to take somebody and you share your own experience with that person. The person will also pick another question and share experience. The first thing says, why are you a teacher in the first place? Why are you in the teaching profession? Is it because there are no jobs out there and just need some form of money so that you won't say, this man is lazy, this man is lazy? Why are you in the teaching profession? What is your student and teacher relationship? Youth, we're asking you, when you're in that classroom and nobody is seeing you, what's that relationship like? What are the daily routines that you put in place when you are for your students? How do you communicate to the students in the classroom? How do you want to empower them? How do you create support for those who are struggling in your classroom? What are the things you put in place for them to grow? How do you include technology in your learning experience in your classroom? Are you a flexible or you are a rigid teacher? This is how we've been doing it, so let us stay like that. That's how it has been. When I went for teaching practice, when we went to the East, this way they told us. And then, what opportunities have you put in place for your students to explore new discoveries, new experience? Who wants to share another question? Any other question? You've spoken before. Any other person who wants to share? There's no yes or no answer here. We're learning, we're getting together. Please. Wants to? Okay, there's an auntie there at the back. Yes.
My question is, how do you communicate to the students? And I consider the environmental factor first. I'm a public school teacher and I teach around Bariga and Akoka. So the first thing I speak the language of the immediate environment to reset my class. So make them see reason, then now come back to the class setting to speak the normal language of the class. If not, I will not be able to achieve my objectives. What I do is speak, hey, let's sit down. It's time for class. You see them respecting themselves, exactly. Then ask them, sit down, then we talk like it should be normal in the class. So you have to consider so many factors around you. Speak the language they understand. And we have most of these good children. These are children around. So you got to go down to their level, speak their language, bring them back to the class, then now start using the normal language of the classroom so that you can get
so you connect with your students so that they can understand the learning you want to introduce to. Thank you. We won't have time to take everybody, and I don't want to dwell on this. I have a short story to tell you, a true life story, and then we'll go on with the class. There was this teacher who was just barely, shall I say, 3 years teaching. First of all, this teacher did not study education as first degree in the university. She got married and then she started looking for a job that would let her have time for her family. And of course, teaching line would provide that. And the person went in to start teaching. So she did not have, those days in Nigeria, it was not a prerequisite for you to have an education degree before you start teaching. But as she got into the line, she grew to love the subject. the idea of teaching, and she saw she had the passion for the children. And along the line, the school she was in started recognizing and seeing some gifting in that teacher. And they started, entrusting, employers, when they see you are good, what do they give? They give you more work. And that's how we do with our students, to challenge them more. So, I think it was second term, she said, second term in the school calendar, a new child came to the classroom. Then she was teaching year 3. And they brought that child to the classroom. Already this teacher was head of, how do they say it again? The house mistress. And they were preparing for inter-house sports, second term. And this new child came, year 3. This new child could not read, or the child could not write. But he can do everything. It wasn't as if he was disabled. And the child came. The first thing the teacher came to do was to go and meet the head of school. Why now? Please, is it that you don't like me? That every challenging student is my own class we bring them to. We have 2 hands. Why isn't that one going to someone who has been in this teaching profession? The teacher will laugh. Don't worry, you can do it. And this child came to the classroom. It was so interesting in the sense that after test, when it's time for exam, the after test question, the child has not done it. And it's now time for exam. I'm telling you how bad it was with that child. Because when you tell them, okay, after you teach a topic, okay, who are you trying to write down? The child will say, what do you want to say? Write, say it, and you say it before you write. Let's imagine the child wants to say the development of the so. We say the development is of so. We continue like that. Okay, how write it down? Hey, writing will come voila. Nothing is coming out of. Talk. Say the first letter. Okay, say it. I can spell the first letter. Nothing is coming out. And if you finally write Arabic on the paper, because it's something the teacher cannot read. And suddenly the teacher saw this was wahala. Those days, cane was very much in practice. There was nothing wrong in caning children. So the teacher, after realizing that cane is not solving this thing, what can I do with the child? After class, we'll be taking the child, trying to see how can I make this child to read. Because it's all that can read that will be able to write and learn. And so she started. The mother will come for open day, open house. The mother will leave crying. Because the mother knew the problem of the child before bringing. Okay, can you take the child to the hospital? Let the doctors look to diagnose what is really the problem. The mother said, the father will not help you. He's a pastor. He says what prayer cannot do does not exist. So you see predicament. Who is the problem solver? The teacher. Hey, so it started like that. By the time the child was leaving the class, the child was still not reading. I can tell you that. Or rather, writing. But the teacher noticed something that the child loved to do. What was it? Calculations. The child was so good in numbers. Mathematics concept was easy for that child. QR, very easy for that child. So the teacher started using what the child liked to help the child in the area of difficulty. At the end of the school year, they always have staff meeting. The teacher said, because we will recap, you are handing your children to a new set of teachers. And we speak, please, I don't know whoever is going to teach this child. Let's name him Phil. But the teacher must be very patient with this child. And still, you might not see what you are doing now, but still build. pour into that child. Year 3, year 4 came, the teachers were not saying much. Year 5 came, not much. By the time the child finished, was in year 6. That was the time when the schools used to write common entrance and whatever. The child that you wouldn't even give position as the last in class. There's no position because there's nothing is writing much. The child was able to do common entrance exams and pass some of the people that used to pass. The child that did not know anything, what happened? Went abroad, is now an engineer, not a teacher, because he said, just take any job. Not a nurse, not anything. The child became an engineer. The child is working in a multinational company outside the country. Why did I tell you this story? The first teacher that the child had contact with, the teacher did not see what she was doing, but she saw that she had to do something. And start, just like you plant a seed in the classroom, in the ground, and you don't see it coming out immediately, but you keep going every day to do what? Water it. And keep what? Watering. And that is how I want you to think when you get into the classroom. There are some things you will do. You will not see the immediate effect. But just keep pouring and pouring it well into that your learning environment. Sooner or later, you will see the difference. That teacher was me several years ago. That student, still once in a while, the mother will say, after the child finished and went abroad, the mother, whenever she sees me, say, Mrs. Shomwe, please use your eyes to see better. I say, yes. Because me, you go, hey, I'll say to you, you will know this thing. It's me and you together. You will know it. And that's the attitude. Please, next slide. So how do we create positive and supportive learning environments in our classroom? I should be the video. Okay. Why do we need to create positive and supportive learning classrooms? Next. 1, we want to enhance the students' learning. We want them to be better in what they know. Do you understand? The essence of learning is not for you to learn and reach one place. I told you before I came here, it's another conference I was in. I didn't go there to teach. I went there to learn. Because you become stale the day you stop learning. Even to you, not to talk of the students. They must improve. They must learn more. You need to create the environment for them to enhance the learning experiences. Secondly, you need to create an environment that is healthy, that the students in your classroom will feel safe, they are secure, they are not afraid. There was a question we asked earlier on. What's your relationship with the student? Are you so like a dragon that when your students, when they are coming, that kind of thing? And the students say, hey, all that. It's not really saying, they're just afraid of you. But the fear, no matter what you want to say, is not going to allow them to listen to you. So all that has not worked. Look for a way. I'm not saying you shouldn't put discipline in place. Excuse me. Discipline must happen, but it's not about fear. You want to create a place for teacher-student connection, because learning is not done in isolation. You want to create a platform that there's equality in your classroom, that no child is left behind. You're not teaching only the students who know it already, who will easily make you look good. Oh, how many people got 100% in your classroom and you're going like this? You are making sure everybody is carried along. If you remember who taught us something, that there was one shepherd who left how many behind? To look for what? To let you know everybody is important. So ask yourself, are you leaving one behind? Are you just concentrating on the 8 students in your classroom and leaving the ones that will give you a little bit of challenge and you're leaving them behind? Positive and supportive environment will do what? Develop the learner's confidence. It will make them, you know what you know. How do you feel when you know something? You feel good with yourself. No matter the question they want to bring. If I did not know this, if somebody helped me to do my slides, if you throw one question, I will say, Isn't that true? But when you know something, confidence, you will smile, you will stand, because you know that subject. It helps them to be confident learners. It's also a time for quick feedback. You're able to know as you're teaching, this child seems not to understand. So immediately you're thinking, what and what should I put in place to help this child to overcome this challenge? It's a platform for the students to thrive in other areas. Remember I told you earlier, we're looking at what? The 3 aspects of learning, trying to raise the total not exist in isolation. You have, like we're all seated here, different people, different backgrounds, different what's it called? Beliefs, different strengths, different weaknesses. That's how they are in your classroom. Understand that they're all different. So as I am teaching you, I'm also learning from you. So I must provide that avenue, right? To embrace everybody in the classroom. As a facilitator, you have control of what is happening in your class. Have you gone to a class? You see all the children. From the door, you hear the noise. How many of you have seen it in our schools? Everywhere is scattered. The teacher is in the classroom. Oh, she's on her table. And you go to another class. The same scenario. The teacher is sitting on the table marking, and the children are what? Quiet. What happened? Did the teacher bring cane out? No. The teacher has been able to set what will exist in your class. You know what? What you permit is what will exist. If you don't permit it, it won't exist. So what are you putting in place? The learning experience is based on what? Intentional and unintentional planning. What do we mean by that? Before you go into the classroom, what do we do as class and as teachers? You prepare what? Your lesson plan. That's intentional planning. So when you're planning, how are you putting every child in your class in your plan? Or you're just... And then when you get into the classroom, you know you plan. There are some surprises that will come. Because the way you teach and the child is still looking, those are unintentional. So you need to be strategic as a teacher. The choices and remarks we make to these children also affect them. Do you understand? What do we say when we talk to them? How do we see them? Some teachers will think because they must show they have authority. You know, we're always pointing out at government. Government is the only one that is. But that small office, that's our classroom. What do we do? What do we do? We come in, we tell the children, this subject is very difficult. If only 40% of you can pass this subject, we have not even introduced the subject. Only 40%. Already, a child that does not want to carry a hand before, what have you done? The teacher has already said it. So maybe I'm part of those that will do it. Do you understand? What are the things you say to your students? Are they encouraging words? Are they words that will make them believe in themselves? The remarks, even when they get something wrong, how do you correct them? How do you make them believe in themselves? For you to set a positive and learning environment in your classroom, you need to embrace strategies. Strategies. Education has gone beyond one-way traffic. It's gone beyond it. You need to be a strategic teacher. And the only way you can do that is for you also to do what? To do what? To go and learn. If you're really serious about this subject and what you're doing, stop it. What have they tried to do? When they repeat it after you, what have they done? They've basically what? Copied you. There's no knowledge. There's no transference. If I'm going to teach now, Uncle, please let me borrow you. If I'm going to teach now, please. Animal. Okay, so I will say here, you can tell me and then we go on. Children, what can you see here? What have we done now? We have simply given names to a man or did I bring expensive something to come and teach this? When you use real and concrete things with your students, they will never forget. When you go, an animal and now is a name of a tomorrow, I said, what is the capital of Zamfara? Thank you. So, what have we simply done? You need to understand there are strategies you can use. They don't have to be expensive. You need to sit, plan, even before you go into the classroom, if you're really serious about creating positive and supportive environments when you're learning in the classroom. The next one says, what size of not fit for? Mrs. Showing wears size 7 shoes. So anyone of you that wants to buy me shoes, that's what I'm telling you. Size 7 shoes. What size do you use, Auntie?
Size 5.
Size 5. Uncle, what size do you use? 42. Do we wear the same size? So why do you want to teach the same way to all your students in the classroom? What size cannot fit all? You need to understand that. If you want to create the learning experience that will be permanent, that will help them to be better and reduce the numbers of failures after they write WAEC, to reduce the number of students and the youths that are going into 419, you need to provide the kind of experience that will cater for each and every one of them. If you're really serious about this, Nigeria will not change on its own. It is we that will change Nigeria. And let's leave the parents out of it. That's another crux. I'm talking about we, the educators. They keep saying we're the reformers of the society. How are we reforming? Have we lost it? And all what we're concerned about is the money. Even the money says no rich. Look at how much rice and beans and garlic is going for. So why don't you put yourself in a place that at least, I don't know about others, I have resolved that every child that comes into my class will be formed academically, they'll be formed emotionally, they'll be formed socially, they'll be formed physically, so that by the time they're getting into the world out there, they will remember the teacher that made the difference in their lives. Children, remember, how we know. Don't be the teacher that will sit in 20 years and say, look at that foolish man. When he was in the classroom, he thought he was the alpha and omega. Look at him. Be the teacher that they will come back to celebrate you, even 20 years to come. It's not that you are waiting for their celebration, but we eat the celebration by the grace of God. The next one says the children should be prepared to to be lifelong learners. This means they're not just learning for the moment. They're not just learning to pass your exams. They're learning for what? The future. So that on their own, they can even go and learn more about the subjects. You teach a concept, you tell them, after giving them homework, you tell them and ask them a question. Go and find out more on this topic. And then you give them the opportunity to come back to the class, to come and discuss with you. Next. How are we doing with time, please? Shaping positive and supportive learning environment. You want to plan your lesson so that the children will think and not just to mimic you. Remember we said that. Not just to tell you the way you said it. Yeah, you know some of us as teachers, we're so mean. If the environment is what? Calm. The children cannot learn where there is noise. Ensure it's calm, there's order. Even you as a teacher, remember I said as a facilitator, you set the tone of your class. What you are coming, you are going like this, you are going like that. Hey, students, I'm coming on. Okay, let me go and collect chalk. Okay, we don't use chalk again. You come back. Okay, students, please go to that next class. Excuse me. Why? Did you know you may have the class before? Set the tone of your class. The students' brain, they're like what? Sponge. They're ready to absorb any knowledge you want to give them. But they can only take and process one thing at a time. When something is too much and it's going bang, then they be a master of none. So set the tone so that what is calm and peaceful. Have a routine. Plan for productive struggle. What do I mean by productive struggle? That means what? I have taught them these subjects. I've done my job as a facilitator. Then what? I step back and allow them to see how they can solve the problems. I allow them. I'm watching. I put things in place to see how they can develop. How many of you have used puzzles before in your school? Especially those who say they do Montessori. What do? The students will do what? They'll put it in the wrong one. They will see it does not fit in. What will they do? They will remove it. They will look again. It doesn't fit. They will remove it. They will keep discovering to see at least they will know that one of it must fit. That is how it is to be with learning. They will make mistakes. You will correct them. You will guide them. And you say, go back and look at it. The answer is there. That's your job. What are you teaching them? One, perseverance. So that one little shaking, they don't give up. They keep pushing through. And to do what? They are making them resilient students. Not students that one small thing, I have mental stress. And mental. This is, God forbid, they say depression. Nigeria has always had economic value. That's the truth. Even since our grandmother's days. But one small shaking, the children will say, oh, that's why you see they don't stay long on the job again. So, like I said, include time for your students to give feedback. When you teach, sit back, tell them, come to the board. Even before you finish teaching, you are able to see them solve this, whatever. You are able to hear them. So if a child does not have understanding, what do? You quickly correct it. Don't wait until you finish all the teaching. And you say, yeah, that's it on the board, sorry. And the child comes 0/5. Is that the result you want? Immediately, you are checking. You are going around. You are saying, a child is getting stuck, and then you bring the child. What did I say when I said you should do this? Is it English? Is it government? Is it chemistry? Let's stretch ourselves as teachers. Always evaluation, we say that, to check the learning. Then use open-ended questions. Many times as teachers, we use closed-ended questions. Questions that is yes, no. The boy is sitting on the mat. Where was the boy sitting on the mat? So, It's not that comprehension has not gone. It's just surface comprehension. Why don't you ask them questions that will make them think? Why do you think the boy was sitting on the mat and not on a chair? Let them answer why they think so. You are probing their mind. You are making them think more. You are making them understand the concept more. Stop all the yes and no questions. It's not really testing knowledge in our children. Create a place where the learner's needs are met. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Build your self-esteem. Set clear rules. To leave the profession, I'm going to be carrying files in the bank. I'm going to be counting money in the bank. But if you want to talk about lives, if you want to talk about modern lives, you know what? That is the profession that even Jesus, for those of us who are Christians, we say is better. You tie what? A millstone on your neck than letting any of these ones to go astray. So that means our God, our Father, we ask you, we ask you, we ask me, we ask you, what did you do with that child when that child came to your class? How did you help the child? How did you create positive environments? What did you do? How did you encourage the child? How did you support the child to be better than how he or she came into your classroom? So let's be serious. If not, all what we're saying, all what you're saying is doing, we're just wasting our time and coming to mark attendance year in, year out. How can we go back? My good and faithful servant, you've done well. Next please. We talked about that. Classrooms. Let it be known from the onset. Your learning outcomes. Let them know what to expect in that subject. Eye contact you make with them. They're not talking though, but even the child is coming already. What she doing? Your nose is like walking as if you don't bring that bridge. There's another bridge that's the government wants to make, and it's open. It's out there, and you're looking right. Even the child. What will she say again? Please, very careful. Your classroom is space. Something went up from here, right? You should what? Innovate. You should develop it. You should engage the children with it. How do you resolve things in the classroom? Because we're talking about lives, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about people, several people. There's no way conflict will not come. Even the tongue and the teeth will have conflict. Or are we operating in the school that even the teachers are fighting in front of the students? You say, miss something, don't talk to me like that. Right in front of our students. Our students learn by example. We hope you know that's the best way to do it. So when they have problems with themselves, how do you come in? Or you take sides. You know the parents that drive those cars. So that their child is always the favorite child. The child is never right. Be fair to yourself. Ensure there are clear rules on how to resolve conflicts in your school and your class. Always give positive praise. Praise. You know when they say you talk and you know when someone does something well in the Yoruba language, you say some things that the person's head will swear, and the person will say, "Hey, is it only me? Only me?" That you know. Don't lie. Don't exaggerate. But you see, that's the power of praise. A child has done well. Don't hoard your praise. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Let the child know where he or she has done well. Oh, not even academically. You say a child helping another child. Oh, well done. Well done. Well done. You are able to tell the parent, oh, this person was so caring in class. He was helping this grade, or he stood to take her turn, or she was ready to share something with someone. Always talk about it. Remember, positivity is contagious. If I come here, like when I came earlier, and I entered, and my face was frowning, what do you think will happen? After a while, it will start moving. Before you know, you yourself, you'll be angry in your spirit. Spirits transform. If you want positivity around you, Also, you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot give what you don't have. Remember, we talked about the 3 aspects of learning. First, cognitive development. How are you developing yourself as a teacher, as an educator? Are you getting better? What are you doing? What are you putting in place to improve yourself? How are you taking the needed rest so that this body will not fail you? What are you putting in place? Or you want to show them it's only you that can do everything? God forbid, if anything happens, they will get someone else to do it. And then when you are stressed, you cannot give your best. You'll be hungry, you'll be easily tired, you'll be easily irritable. So you need to take care of yourself in those 3 areas. I have some short videos, you will watch it, because I've practically wrapped up my session. Please, can you play it? Just to give us a sneak about what can happen in a school environment. Sorry, some part of it will be spoken in English. Right? Where's it? She could not see that boy has reading challenge. And then you're breaking him out to read, and he's telling you the truth. To a dyslexic child, the letters are jumping. They cannot put it together to form words. That is why they cannot read in your classroom. And you think they're being lazy. You are just lazy. And the next thing the teacher did, get out of my class. Who can tell me in simple word, what should you have done? Remember I talked about positive and supportive learning environment. What do you think you can do as a teacher with such a child in your class? Briefly, what can you do? How can you help that child? You want to try? Uncle, you're standing up. You want to? You will stop. I shall stand up when I'm asking questions. Not you again. Who wants to try? Just try. We're here to learn together. What do you want? Should you do to help that child? Please give one of them. Thank you. Briefly, because our time is almost up. Sorry? How can we help?
You just push the child closer to yourself.
Okay. You can connect. So, yes.
So you get to know the student, get to know the strengths, like what the student is good at, then you start from there.
Okay, thank you. There's somebody there. And I want to encourage others. So that it won't be as if your mommy is giving me credit money or so that's why I'm always calling you.
The boy needs more focus, more time, and more brain power and activity.
What else can we do? Last question. Anyone? Somebody around there? Oh, yeah, discussing now. Discussing now. I want people who have spoken in the classroom. What can we do? Right, there's somebody at the back. Let's be this coming. Sorry. Quickly, we need to round up.
Thank you. I think it's important that we need to know that there are certain skills that are required to solve issues like this. And what support you can give to the child is even letting the school know that this child is going through this, and you take this child through therapy. Because there are also some children that go through, they are experiencing what's called dyscalculia, which is the other side. Then you may not have the skill to support the child, but let the school know that this child is having this issue, and you have actually done your best for that child.
Teacher should get basic knowledge on how to help a child with special needs education. So which letter is jumping, which letter is looking reversed, like B and D, they are reverse letters. So some children find it hard to differentiate B and D. So each teacher should actually be knowledgeable on special education, no matter how basic.
One moment, what the teacher would have done was not to send that child out.
Thank you very much. The first danger you will do as a teacher is to send a child out of your classroom when teaching is going on. The only reason you can send a child out is if the child is disruptive in the classroom, posing danger to himself or others. But if he's to do it, he's sleeping in the classroom, he's saying rubbish, he's not whatever, look for other things to do. Go and make him stand so he's not sleeping. Look for naughty corner or a child, someone who will interest the child. Don't send the child out of the classroom. Because no matter what you are teaching at that moment, that child does not have avenue to it. And that's the danger. Then I always tell the teachers that have worked with it, right? Forget our parents if they are doing anything or not. Forget. I'm not saying, like that gentleman said, let your school know. Let your HOD know. But you, there's a reason God sent that child to your classroom. There's a reason. And it's in your hands to find that reason. Simple sounds. Start from that basic to see how it is. Time will not permit us. That's why school was changed to another school. The person that made the difference was not a math teacher, was not an English teacher, was an art teacher. The art teacher went on teaching that child. When he noticed the problem, he went trying to read about it and looked for ways to help the child. I'm not saying that everyone, remember the story of Philo I started with. Some of them you won't see immediate change, but you started something. So identifying a problem and putting it to someone else to solve. It's like your doctor. You go, doctor, I have headache, I have body pains, I have backache, I don't know what to do. You say, you have malaria, and it tells you, but you need to go and go to another hospital because I cannot help you. That's what some of us do as teachers. Your child cannot read, but me, I don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know what to do? You're a teacher. God has given you the ability to go and find out. It will even help you. I was at a training today, the conference. This woman is now has support of British and UK government. She was just a teacher in a school in Ibadan. She said a story of how she started